What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Box Out Boys podcast. We are the NBA podcast of the people, your home for lukewarm takes and substandard analysis. I'm Titus Two Shots Dominguez, and joining me tonight, it's Chris, the Stats Man Gorman. Hit him with the stats, Chris.
Hi, Titus. The Timberwolves did not get swept, which apparently they've never been swept in a 7-game series. So, hats off. Hats off to them.
Never went swept. Great movie with Drew Barrymore. Also getting those buckets tonight, it's the lawn boss, Joey McCroskey. Get that, Joe.
Hey.
There it
I
is.
had to do it. It's so nice. It has to happen. It has to happen every
I'm just
show.
a little down. My teams are all gone in these playoffs already, and we're not even out.
Join the
one
club,
yet.
Chris.
I'm there. And
Welcome
it's
to the pity party.
Joey's been thatching and not watching the Bulls. So, and Adam dipped out tonight. Dethatching. Adam dipped out tonight because I'm on my phone because my computer is restarting, and it's an interesting show tonight. It's already good. I'm becoming a bit of a problem on the show here with my restarts. But we got a lot of fun stuff for you guys. The boys covered last week the first round, first quarter week of the playoffs. It's been fun. Obviously, since then, it's been crazy. So we got a lot to talk about tonight. We're going to do a little bit of reset on the championship favorites. We're going to talk about some of the crazy game from Jimmy. Absolutely wild. Talk about Kawhi. I have some high thoughts for you. Yeah, boys. And then Joey's got some playoff trivia for us. So let's go ahead and get right into it with a champion favorite reset. So obviously, like kind of the biggest surprise of the first round, I think, has been Miami up 3-1 on the Bucks, which is absolutely crazy. Joey, does this change your mind as far as a championship favorite? And now after the kind of the first round, half round of the first round, who's your kind of leading favorite right now?
Yeah, it absolutely does shake it up. You guys hear me? We good?
Yeah, we're good. Sorry.
Yeah. No, it absolutely does change it. Milwaukee has not been they've not looked like themselves. Obviously, Giannis missed 2 games, and they won 1 game without him. But I kind of got the vibe that they didn't think they needed him to get through this series, and they were kind of just hoping that they were going to, pull it out without Giannis being Giannis. And clearly, that's just not it's not the case for them. The rest of their scoring options have not looked great. It's pretty much been Giannis and Brook Lopez, and have their other guards playing well. So it's shocking. I don't think you would talk to anybody outside of Miami who would have picked Miami to get through this series. Obviously, they haven't yet, but it's looking more and more likely every day. But yeah, it definitely has shaken it up for me. I was looking at our roundtable today. We all had the Bucks in the finals matchup, so that goes down. That's a clear loss for all of us. But for me, I think the team that jumped to the top is the Suns now. Last week, Chris and I were talking a lot about Kawhi and kind of being the runner-up to early MVP of the playoffs. Obviously, they've been bounced now, but between Booker and KD, Booker, last night was 47, Durant had 31, and you didn't even notice Durant's 31, right? It just kind of came in sloppy, broken plays, right? It came in the flow, and that was the thing that everybody was kind of fearing, right? If those two guys get going and they're hitting on all cylinders, they're going to be really hard to beat. So for me, I bumped up my number one here in week 2 of round 1.
Nice. It's a good pick. Chris, what do you think, man? I know even the Celtics dropping that game last night, kind of fluky to the Atlanta Hawks. Maybe that changed your mind, but who's kind of moved up your board?
That's it, man. No, the Celtics are still number 1, even though they dropped that game last night. Trey hit a Dame-like shot. Is Trey better than Dame? We have stuff to talk about potentially coming out of this series. Ice cold, man, right there. But it was cool. It was great. Great win for Atlanta. But the only people that are disappointed that it's going to a game 6 are Janet Jackson fans in Atlanta, because I guess that concert might be moved. I'm not really sure how they're going to manage that. But Boston is still, in my opinion, are the clear favorites. This is just a hiccup, a bump in the road to them, in my opinion. What's going on in Milwaukee after watching them down to stretch, lose to Jimmy's 56-point phenomenal performance that we'll talk about later more in detail. It felt like every time they went down the court, Giannis just tried to drive. There was no cohesion or flow in the offense, and it kind of got me worried about what can really happen with this Milwaukee team if they're down and they need to come back offensively. It doesn't seem like there's a lot there for them to do that. So in my opinion, Boston is still number one, or is now number one, and Milwaukee is really falling down. And to Joey's thing on the Phoenix Suns, the only pushback I like the Phoenix are probably the favorites. They're playing Denver in round 2, which I think is going to be a hell of a series that we should talk about. But the thing is, Kevin Durant played 44 minutes or more in 4 of those 5 games. So he had 4 minutes of rest. So he basically played every minute, right, of every game that they won. And I just don't see that as a sustainable model, especially for a guy who's, hasn't really played. He played 28 games this year? I don't even know. Or he played
he hasn't been super healthy.
He hasn't been very healthy this year, so I'm a little sus on Phoenix. I think Denver could really go out and pop them, especially if Jokic continues to throw the bows that he's been throwing. Again, just do it against dominating this time. So I don't know what to make out of the West. The West is so wide open, but in my opinion, the East is the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you guys. I think Boston has kind of moved up to the number 1 position in my eyes in the Eastern Conference. But the team that I'm really kind of curious about is the Nuggets in the Western Conference. I know obviously the matchup against the Suns is going to be an epic heavyweight fight, but I just think they played really well. Handled Minnesota without much issue. And Minnesota's a good team, so it wasn't like there were scrubs or anything. And I think they're playing really well. Jamal has looked good in moments. Michael Porter Jr. has looked good. And the Suns I don't know how deep they are. So I'm kind of curious if they're going to have, enough to get past Denver. But I think that's the series. I think we basically have our championship kind of series lined up in Philly and Boston versus, or if Boston gets there, of course, and then Denver versus Phoenix. So I think the winners of those series are coming out of their conferences, in my opinion, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, one stat I want to throw out: Bismack Biyombo, who apparently is only 30 years old. I feel like he's been in the league for 20 years. He's been playing 12 plus minutes a game for the Phoenix Suns in the series. He's not exactly a playoff rotation guy. So yeah, it's a little worrisome there.
He's getting minutes there. All right, let's go to our. Oh, go ahead.
I say my only fear on the two teams on the Nuggets and the Celtics. Like the Nuggets, I think they have to have all 3 cooking to go far, right? And Michael Porter Jr. last night was rough. It was bad, and I feel like he's capable of giving you that at kind of any time. Then again, maybe Jamal goes off and just absolutely outduels somebody, which is perfectly possible. On Boston side, though, like they kind of fell back into some of their old tricks that they had last year, right? Where they kind of gave that game away last night. They had that game won. They were up like 13 or something, and Tatum was like, what was he, 1 of 10 from 3, and he kept shooting them, and I feel like that's kind of one of those things with Boston where it's like, when they're hitting those threes, they look unstoppable and they get these big leads and they win the games by a ton. But when they're missing them, they don't adjust to it. And like Tatum was 7 of 11, I think, from 2-point, or 7 of 10. So like he didn't adjust. Like he was clearly able to score in the paint and just was kind of settling for some 3-pointers. So that's kind of worrisome. But I mean, they can coach that out of them or just make those game plan changes. I feel like with Phoenix, with Booker and Durant, they can score from anywhere on the court at any time, depending on what's kind of working for them. So that's what gives me a little bit of hope for them that like if they have a rough stretch, they can find their way through it, where maybe Boston might struggle to get themselves out of a jam if they're having a bad night from somewhere.
Well, you did rank Booker higher than Jaylen Brown, right? When we did those rankings a few weeks ago.
I think I did.
I think that makes sense. Why? And that's why for me, I still feel Jaylen Brown. I would still trust Jaylen Brown, Tatum more, and in that respect. So that is interesting for that. So because I understand where you're coming from, but I just disagree with it, even though Booker's putting up stupid numbers right now.
Booker's balling right now, yeah.
Yeah, it's just does he keep balling? Because he's balled before, and then he kind of can disappear.
Yeah,
I think the thing with Phoenix is that if he disappears, maybe Durant picks up the slack, and then you got just like a dynamic duo, like Joey's saying, like, all right, pick your poison, basically, and see what you're gonna do. So yeah, I think that even in that series against Denver, they could easily have the two best players in the series on the Phoenix Suns. I mean, Jokic is obviously a great player, but maybe just doesn't play up to that level in that series. So, but hey, it's going to be a good one. We'll be watching for sure. All right, we'll go on to our next question here. This is something Joy was bringing up here. Is Kawhi worth the risk? So obviously he missed the last 3 games, or was it 2 of the last 3?
3
in that series.
3
last 3. Yeah.
He only played 2 games, first 2.
Looked like a top 5 player. Joey was saying on the last podcast that the rest was worth it because look at this guy, how he's dominating in the series, and then knee soreness or knee. I forget exactly what they said here for the injury, but did not play the rest of the series. Weird. And without Paul George, that series became one-sided, and Phoenix pretty much handled their business. But Chris, we'll start with you here on this. I mean, what do you think? Is Kawhi worth the risk? Should the Clippers maybe think about breaking this thing up? Like, what do you do here? He hasn't played in the playoffs in the last couple of years.
So, if I had the most secure job security as a GM, and the owner's like, do whatever the hell you think you need to do, you're not going to get fired for whatever move you make, I would look to try to sell high on Kawhi right now. Wow. The way I look at him is he's kind of like a Grant Hill who actually had some success before he got hurt. Like, when Grant Hill went down, it was kind of like, oh, he's gonna be the next superstar. And he got hurt, and he never really became the same. That's kind of what we thought was gonna happen with Derrick Rose. It's like, oh, Derrick Rose is gonna become the next Grant Hill. And it's kind of what it came, and that's where I feel like Kawhi's at. Like, Kawhi's not gonna be that guy anymore. He did not play more than 5 games in a season or in a stretch at all this season, and he still missed 3 of the 5 games in the playoffs.
Tough.
I'm out. I don't want to bet on this guy. The best way for a player to play is availability, and he just doesn't have it, in my opinion. He's past 30 now, and for me, maybe I'll go more out on a limb than you guys might be, but I don't want to. I want to trade high on him. In my opinion. Yeah.
Joe, what do you think, man? I want to hear a response here. Joey?
Sorry, I don't think you're the problem tonight. I think I'm actually having an issue here.
Having an issue.
No, so I'm with Chris. So he actually has a torn meniscus, right? So it kind of comes down to, I said last week, hey, they must have figured something out where they've managed to rest him through the regular season. Then he comes to the playoffs and he looks healthy and he's ready to go and he's dropping 35 points like it's not. And then we find out right after that he's playing, then he's not playing again, then he's not playing again. And yeah, you've got to sell high on him if you can even anymore, because you're not getting any guarantees out of Kawhi that he's going to be healthy for any sort of stretch of anything here. So I don't think he's worth the risk for the Clippers, but I imagine there's some team out there who would be willing to take the risk on him. But it's unfortunate because he obviously has so much talent and potential, but we forget, he's actually been in the league for a long time. I always feel like I think Kawhi is really young, and he's really not that young. He's been in the league for a while.
Yeah, Chris said he hit that 30 mark. So yeah, not the youngest guy in the world anymore. And yeah, I think I did see that the injury news came out. I don't think I actually looked into to see what it was, but if it is a torn meniscus, man, I mean, that's another serious injury, another knee injury. It starts to go, you start to question, is this guy worth the risk to, and all you have to do to have him on your team and the amount of money you're paying him and all this stuff. I mean, I'm kind of with you guys. I think a team could certainly talk themselves into like, hey, we could have this guy and maybe we do something with him. But
wow, so we're in agreement. I thought for sure you guys would be like, no, keep Kawhi. He's such a talent.
I mean, I think if I was a team, I would be trying to get him. I'd be looking to see like, hey, Clippers, are you guys done? Are you guys blowing this up? Because what can we give you for Kawhi? And I'd be trying to buy low personally, just because I want to give him one more crack at it. But I think if you're the Clippers, maybe you do hey, let's get as much as we can right now because you don't know.
Could the Bulls trade DeMar for Kawhi? And maybe
let's go.
And Io or Kobe, like
some pieces.
Just do the trade 2.0 with two completely different franchises. How would you feel about that, Joey? If we had Kawhi instead of DeMar?
I don't actually think I'd mind it. Like,
yeah, I'd be fine with that.
I mean,
you're willing to take a swing on it, right? Because
so I guess then to answer my own question, is DeMar worth the risk? I guess in that scenario, yes, he would be worth the risk because in that scenario, like you're not going anywhere with DeMar, so you might as well roll the dice on somebody who might be better.
Yeah, and then if it fails, you blow it up and you're done.
Bulls, the Bulls would be like the perfect team. It's like if this fails and he gets, but it's like if he gets hurt and this fails. We actually are bad, and if he's good, then we're better than we were before, and it worked out in our favor.
Yeah, it's a perfect gamble team.
Okay,
it's just a high risk thing.
Yeah,
high risk, high reward. Definitely an interesting scenario.
It sucks. Kawhi was like,
it does suck.
LeBron 5 years ago, when he was in Toronto, and now
he's a two-time Finals MVP with two different teams.
It's crazy.
He's a great player. Just to not have him be available anymore kind of sucks. But I tell you one guy who is available and is showing out, Jimmy G. Butler, 56 last night to just will the Miami Heat to a 3-1 lead over the Milwaukee Bucks. Shocked the world. I know I was kind of getting a little sleepy there during that game and maybe resting up before the late game.
Yeah, for real, right?
So I saw the Bucks were up 12, and I started to let myself drift off, woke back up, and it was a tie game, and Jimmy was going nuts. So, Joey, man, what did you think? You put in for our doc here that was it the best performance of our adult lives? What do you think? Was it one of the best performances you've seen? And just kind of what a shock and surprise the Miami Heat and Jimmy Butler has been.
So I do think it is one of the best individual playoff performances of our adults that I can remember. Like I can remember a lot of like memorable moments, but in terms of like a guy as an 8 seed who they looked dead to rights, right? They got blown out by Atlanta. They looked terrible. Everybody was counting them out, and they came out and looked really good in game 1, but it was like, okay, Giannis got hurt. He didn't play. It doesn't really matter. Then they lost game 2. And then they ripped off 2 in a row, and it was kind of like, oh, wait a second.
What just happened?
Maybe this is good. And like, yeah. And like the fact that Chris and I were talking about this earlier, but like there was a point where Jimmy Butler doesn't take 3-pointers, right? It's not his thing. It doesn't happen. And there was a point where he was just coming down the court and pulling up for threes, and he was smiling. He was loving it. And like, they couldn't do anything to stop him. Like they could not do anything. And we have talked about this, I think, ad nauseum in the 2 years we've done this podcast about when this kind of stuff happens, like why isn't Giannis guarding Jimmy? Like, there was just no like nothing was working, and they didn't try what should be their best defender on. So for me, like the 56 points in regulation as an 8 seed against the 1 seed, the overall 1 seed.
True.
Like that means something, right? And especially after like the play-in debacle, and like this was just a classic Jimmy Butler game. It was everything that like he pens himself up to be, and to do it in that stage, to put them up 3-1, for me in my adult life that I can remember, I think individual full-on performance for a whole game it definitely has to be it.
I mean, it's certainly up there. I think the one, as far as points go, I couldn't think of anything specific. Since for me, when you pose the question that way, like the best of our adult lives, I said I needed to come off the top of the dome. Giannis's 50 piece in Game 7 against the Suns comes to mind. And then LeBron's.
He dropped 50 in that game?
He dropped 50. I think he had a triple-double, too. I think it was 50 and 10 rebounds and like a 9 assists. So I'd have to see. But that like came to my mind quickly about like and that was the one where he went like 10 for 10 or 12 for 12 on free throws. And they were doing the whole counting thing where he just like got it together. That one came to mind. And LeBron.
Okay, yeah.
Against the Suns in the finals.
Really? Oh, shit. All right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And then the other one that came to my mind was LeBron's 23 in a row, or whatever it was, 25 in a row against the Pistons way back. And I don't remember what game that was in the series, but when he just went off and just dominated for that fourth quarter, that was definitely one of the most like jaw-dropping performances I've seen. But I mean, certainly Jimmy Butler's up there. Chris, what did you think, man?
That was 50. Holy shit.
Yeah, 50. It was a Game 7, right?
I didn't think you were lying. That's probably. I mean, I just remember he had 5 blocks in that game. That was like what I remember.
It was ridiculous.
Insane double block. I think it's up there for sure. When Joey called it as the greatest performance of all time, I had to give it hesitation because whenever we see stuff like this, it's like, oh, this is amazing. But crazy shit happens all the time, and I just think about Klay Thompson beating the Thunder. In Game 6, coming back. I don't have the stats in front of me for that game, but that was the one thing in my mind. I'm like, yeah, no, that's one of the best performances I've seen in my adult life. Yeah. But to the point that what Jimmy Butler did is up there, and what he's doing right now, Game Talk, he's doing it again with 9 points so far in the first. And
are they playing right now too? Oh man,
he's just putting on a show. I think to Joey's point on the 8 versus 1 seed, the fact that they're such underdogs and there's no expectation for them to win this series, especially because since Giannis is back now. I think they're like 13-point underdogs in that game they won. It's definitely just an insane performance.
Now, do you guys think the Bucks can win? Yeah.
Defensive team, like they're the best defensive team, right? Like they were all season, and you can name a handful of guys on that team that should be able to stop Jimmy from getting
Drew, Giannis,
you should be able to name. Yeah, they got some guys, and
Pat Connaughton can help a little bit.
So come on, it was unreal. I was happy to see him smiling and enjoying it.
Yeah, this is my shit. That was pretty good. All right, last question on this. But do you guys think the Bucks can still win this series? Because I think they can. I could see the Bucks rattle off 3 in a row. But I wanted curious if you think this is over. Yes, from you, Chris. Joey, what do you think?
I'd be a fool to say it was over.
Yeah, it's a yes for me. I think Milwaukee can still win the series. I wouldn't put a bet on it, but I also wouldn't be surprised if they did.
But also, like, most of the reason why I'm saying they can still win it is because they are the 1 seed. Chris Middleton just looks like he's gonna have to ball out tonight. So far, he's got 13 points and 5 of 6 game talk.
Wait, hey, speaking of game talk, did New York win tonight? I haven't seen the stat.
Yeah. We want to talk about that.
So we were all saying the Eastern Conference playoffs started the second round, and then it was going to be a clear Bucks, Cavs, Celtics, Sixers. What if we get Miami versus New York in the second round? Like, that is going to be the wildest scenario to happen.
It's kind of a bummer though, because then it's like,
it is a bummer.
Whoever wins that then loses to the Sixers or the Celtics. That's kind of how we're looking at it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I would love to see. Actually, I kind of would love to see the Knicks just come out of the East. Like, fuck it.
Let's get to the finals. Knicks Warriors, baby.
Just do it.
Just do it. All right, you boys ready for some high thoughts?
So we have a question in the chat. Do we want to?
Yeah, fire it. We got a little spot here.
All right, baskets. What do we got? If you could design shoes for one player, what would they look like and why?
Oh, I know.
All right. Sounds like you might have been cooking.
Something came in my head. I would want to do Josh shoes, and I would do it like his hair. Like they're mostly black, but then he'd have like the blue and the red like striping on it. The way he's got like those little dreads in his hair. Maybe on the laces or something. I think it'd be sick.
Pretty good.
What do you guys got?
Dreads.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's tough to design a shoe on the fly.
I got Trae Young. I don't think he has a shoe yet. He might deserve one soon if he can take Boston to 7. Just give him some ice cubes on the side.
Oh, that's a good.
Maybe do something with this. I don't know if you like this. Kind of is like a Wakanda Forever thing too. If when it's still, it's got to be the shivering thing. So I don't know how that would look on a shoe. But someone with ice cubes, I think, with the hawk. I'm not a good shoe designer, but I kind of like it.
That works for me.
What if we did Klay Thompson, Titus, and we gave him a little ocean scene with some kayak action on it on the side?
Oh yeah, give me that. Some waves. Maybe arm spread.
Waves, yeah, it's a little Splash Brother motif kind of thing going on there. Some
he deserves a shoe too. It's so sad he hasn't seen a shoe yet.
Thank you for the question. Question baskets.
Pick the guys that have cool nicknames or cool hobbies outside of basketball and
yeah,
make a shoe or
cool hobbies
like
are subjective.
Cool. Wow.
All right.
Okay.
Sorry, I thought
shots fired. He's got 3 kids. Give him a break.
Fair. Facts.
I got 3 kids. All right. Let me start with Bucks Nuggets. Nuggets. Still in play.
It's still in play.
For one more night.
One of these years it's going to happen. It's going to be the greatest thing ever.
Oh.
The Box Out Boys matchup. All right. I'm going to start my high thoughts. I had a couple this week. Obviously, the holiday or the week was fun for me. But I do have a high thought that I thought of after listening to last week's pod. You guys mentioned how the first round's a little too long and that you would like to see maybe a 5-game series. I think I figured this out. The NBA should institute a slaughter rule in the first round. So if you go up 3-0, the series is over. It's a 7-game series. But if you get to 3-0, that's it. You don't play anymore.
It's done.
You know, I'm in, and that would never happen because then
it would never happen.
Scott Foster would just be the officiator, even though he didn't fulfill that.
Yeah, the extender.
Night. It came down to a miss Anthony Edwards 3-pointer sent to OT. I love that idea. I just think like in the current conspiracy dynamic we're in with the NBA, it just wouldn't.
It wouldn't fly.
It wouldn't fly enough. Yeah.
All right.
There's so much lost revenue if you go from
Chris is all about the revenue.
Yeah, man.
He's a realist. He's a very big realist in this conversation.
Joe, what do you think of that?
I mean, at that point, you might as well just make it a 5-game series, right? Like it's the same concept. So
true.
Just Titus.
But I thought, hey, if it's too.
This is a disappointing. I thought.
Hey, that was only a reaction. Here's my real high thoughts. I was up late. I was watching Phoenix Clippers, and I thought hit me. I wanted to see what you guys think. I don't know how controversial this is, but I feel like it's surprisingly lucid as always. In my opinion, I think Kevin Durant is. I think you could say that Kevin Durant is the best team player. Team guy ever.
Yeah, he's the best number 2 of all time. Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say number 2. I was like, I'm trying to think of the word I had for this part. That's great.
He's the servant.
He's the ultimate team guy. He's the ultimate team player. How many superstars has he been able to play with and literally just fits right in? No, like he barely played with the Suns at all. But it just instantly finds a role, instantly makes it work with Chris Paul, Devin Booker. Like, it's no big deal. And you look back at the Nets with Harden and Kyrie, Durant wasn't the problem. You know, it was Kyrie and Harden were the problem. Go back to the Golden State. Just fit right in with that team. A team that had won 73 games, gets right in, plays his role, wins 2 championships, no big deal. Go back to OKC. He played with Harden, an eventual MVP. Russ, an eventual MVP. Again, he wasn't the problem. The problem was they traded Harden, and Russ was Russ. He's the ultimate team guy.
It's convenient he's never the problem, even though he's been on his
But he's the ultimate team guy. Everybody that plays with him loves him. They all like him.
I completely agree. I don't have an issue with it. Kevin Durant will always be that guy. You can't say he's one of the best of all time. You always have to qualify it, where it's like, yeah, he's one of the best guys to play with, but like he can't lead. He's not a leader. He's the servant. He wanted to be. That's his nickname that he wanted to be. You can't make your own nickname, right? And so, but he wanted it to be called a servant. He's the servant, if anything, right?
The serpent. And, wow, here it is.
I'm not even trying to bash him tonight.
You're just bashing him.
It's just natural when we talk about Kevin Durant. But he is the ultimate number 2. I'd pick him over Scottie Pippen 100%. So that puts him in the top 20 all time. Yeah, for sure.
Joey, come on, man, help me out here.
No, I'm with you. I'm trying to find a fault with your argument, and I don't think I can. Like, I get what you're saying. Like you're saying this is a positive. Chris is trying to turn it into a negative.
Yeah, he's number 2. Yeah, I'm like, no, the other thing too is that he was always the best player on those teams. So even on the Suns right now, he's the best player on the Suns. Even though Booker's balling out and they have Chris Paul and all that stuff, everybody knows KD's the best guy. But yet he's just able to fit in seamlessly with all these other stars. It's just crazy to me. It hit me that night when I was I was a little baked watching the game. I'm like, how the hell does this guy just always fit in? Like, it's never been a problem.
No, it's true. I'm struggling to find a fault with another one of your very strong high thoughts. That's relatively accurate.
Smoke weed, kids.
You doing indica or what's the other
hybrid?
You're doing hybrid. Okay.
Hybrid. It's a little bit of both. Hybrid.
You can't work remote, so he works hybrid.
Are they gummies? What are you doing?
It's a vape pen.
Vape pen. Big Daddy Kawhi, he's probably high too. That's a very good point. Kevin Durant's probably he can't lead. He's just
he's relaxed. Hey, he's very relaxed and chill.
Flow. He's like whatever.
Whatever. Isn't there that interview where he's like, "Yeah, I'm high right now." I think I have to look that up. I'll find that.
That was Letterman. Was that the Letterman?
Yeah, something like that.
It's honestly perfect.
He's just the ultimate team guy, and it just hit me, and I'm like, you know what? Look at this guy, just fitting in again with another team full of superstars.
Just to lose in the second round to
the Nuggets.
Jokic. I'm excited for that series a lot.
Oh my god!
Do we want to make predictions for that one? Do we should do that now before trivia or after trivia?
Let's do it
for the end.
Let's do it now.
Let's do it now.
All right, what do you got? What do you got? Nuggets, Suns.
I got Nuggets in 7.
I'll go Suns in 6.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm Nuggets in 7 too. Yeah.
Oh, I get to be different.
I kind of want to go Nuggets in 5, but I want to put some respect on Phoenix because Kevin Durant is a very good basketball player.
Yeah.
But
even though he's the best
just there's no bench. And I realize Bismack Biyombo's been playing that many minutes all season. It's just weird to see him be the 6th man for Phoenix.
Yeah.
So,
because I mean, like the other truth is that they would.
Sorry, 7th man.
If Kawhi plays, I think they lose that series. I don't think they were going to win, but so
you play the team that's in front of you.
And I know, hey, they got to the finals the last time doing this kind of the same thing, hitting up against injured teams. But
I'm just excited for the Ayton. I want to see what Ayton does because I said that I'd rather have Gobert over Ayton, and Gobert looked like a shithead. By the way, he's a shell of himself. I am so disappointed in that man. But Ayton will
need those picks anyway.
Yeah. God.
Definitely interesting.
Kessler finishing 3rd in our Rookie of the Year voting was kind of just salt on the wound, right? Like, man, I don't. Okay, let's move on. Let's go to trivia.
Let's move on. Trivia, Joey. What do you got for us, man?
All right. So with Jimmy's performance and just kind of, I don't know, was thinking about playoffs and records and LeBron getting the all-time scoring record and everything. I was kind of thinking, like, where do some big name players fall in the realm of like playoff performances and playoff totals and stuff? So I started digging and I got down to what I think is a good subset for you guys. So this is the 2000s, so the decade of 2000 to 2010. Okay.
Okay. This is deep for me.
I got the top 5 from each of these categories. And I'm just going to say the category, and then you guys will shout out some names. We're not going to do our normal competition. We're just shout out some names. We're going to see, because there were some surprises in here that I just wanted to share with you guys. So, points. Most playoff points from the years 2000 to 2010. Who's the top 5?
All right, Shaq.
Shaq is number 2.
Okay.
Good call. Wow. Duncan.
Duncan is number 3.
Okay.
Kobe is number 1.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we got the top 3.
2010.
Got the top 3.
I'm trying to think who else won titles.
If you got the hint, let me know. I'll throw some hints.
Is AI?
Yeah, get.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
We had Allen Iverson is one name we threw out.
Is he on the list?
Sorry, say that guy again.
Allen Iverson?
No, incorrect.
Dirk Nowitzki?
Oh,
Dirk. Dirk is number 4.
He's 4.
Dwayne Wade?
Dwayne Wade, incorrect. Number 4, the man, or number 5, sorry. He wore a mask at times.
Oh, Rip Hamilton.
Rip Hamilton.
Rip Hamilton.
It would have taken me 10 more guesses to get to Rip. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of a guy from the Pistons. To me. Yeah, I was trying to think of a guy from the Pistons. I was thinking Billups, so I was like, nah, Billups wouldn't be on there, so I didn't say it. But yeah, the Pistons came to mind. But
yeah, Kobe had just over 4,000. Shaq had 3,300. Duncan was at 31, and then it dropped off from there. Dirk was at 24.72, and Rip Hamilton was at 24.67. So,
wow,
we're good. Let's do assists. Let's do assists next.
Oh man,
Chauncey Billups.
Chauncey Billups, Chris, number 3.
Tony Parker.
Tony Parker, number 5. Titus, yes.
Rondo.
Incorrect. Nope, no Rondo.
Jason Kidd.
Jason Kidd, number 1.
There you go. Nice.
No LeBron. I think I heard Chris say LeBron.
Yeah. Derek Fisher?
Nope, no Derek Fisher.
Steve Nash.
Oh, yeah.
Steve Nash, number 2.
All right, so what do we have left? What do we have so far?
You've got Jason Kidd, Steve Nash, Chauncey Billups, and Tony Parker. You're missing number 4.
I feel like there's got to be a Laker or somebody on there, right?
Not JJ Barea.
JJ Barea.
Titus is warm.
A Laker.
You said it's a Laker? Is it Kobe Bryant?
It is Kobe Bryant.
Okay. Wow.
Which, again, that was my surprising one. I was like, man, everybody talks
about
that is
Kobe
a shock. Never passing. And he was only 8 shy of Chauncey Billups. So Jason Kidd had 909, Steve 883, Chauncey 783, Kobe 765, and then Tony Parker had 597 in the decade.
Wow. I mean, he did play a lot of playoff series that decade. So
he did a lot of minutes. Volume really helps.
A lot of volume guy.
Yeah.
All right, you guys want to do one more?
Yep.
Yeah, let's do it.
Do you want to do rebounds, steals, or blocks?
Boards.
Yeah.
Boards. All right, we'll do boards. Rebounds.
All right, so Duncan
is number 1, 1,739.
Shaq
is number 2, 1,717.
I wonder if we can get this in order. I'm going to go with Ben Wallace.
Ben Wallace is number 3. Yes! 1,454.
What about Garnett? Kevin Garnett?
Not in the top 5.
That's a good guess, though. They probably just didn't make the playoffs enough. The poor Minnesota team. Nowitzki?
Dirk is number 4.
Okay.
1,069. Number 5 is on the table.
Man. Number 4. So we still have gotten him in order. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah. Well, you guys are still technically.
I mean, if you said Nowitzki, it would be perfect right now, and I'd be in the pressure. I don't know who to say 5. So what do you got for 5? Tell you.
Oh man.
Can you say the conference for the 5th one?
Yeah.
In this decade, it would have been the Eastern Conference. Player played in both conferences, but.
Oh wow. Both conferences in the 2000s.
Oh wait, oh no, we already said Shaq.
Yeah, that's what I first thought too. I was like Heat, Lakers, but another clue maybe.
Played on a team with another player in the top 5.
Oh man,
it's not Shaq. Wait, in the top 5 of rebound? Is it Tyson Chandler?
Nope.
I'm trying to give a Pistons. Who else was played with Ben Wallace? Rasheed Wallace.
It was Rasheed Wallace.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
Another shocker. I would never have guessed that you'd have 2 guys. Again, it dropped off significantly. Ben Wallace had 1,454. Rasheed Wallace had 962. But still,
those Wallace brothers just killing it
in the decade. For Sheed to have, I was staggered. Yeah, but I'll go through steals and blocks real fast. You don't have to guess them. Steals number 1 was Kobe with 226.
Wow,
surprising. Ben Wallace was number 2, 29. Jason Kidd at 192. Derek Fisher. Here's where Derek Fisher had 167. And then Manu Ginobili had 148 steals in the decade in the playoffs.
That's pretty
good. Then blocks, it was Duncan 353, Shaq at 308, Ben Wallace at 250, Rasheed Wallace at 196, and Jermaine O'Neal at 132.
Oh wow!
Wow, he would be the tough one.
Forget how dominant the Pistons were on defense in that decade.
It's funny how it was just like 4 teams for the decade, right? Like
it really was.
So many more teams, I feel like, involved.
Well, the Lakers won 5 of the 10 titles in that decade, right? And then the Pistons made 6 straight conference finals.
Right. So that makes sense. Why?
Yeah. Something like this. So yeah, that's why all those guys are up there.
Yeah, I mean, it was Lakers, then Spurs, Pistons, Spurs, Heat, Spurs, Celtics, Lakers. So
Lakers
won 6 titles in that.
Lakers won.
I know. Sorry, they didn't win 6. They went to 6.
Yeah, they lost to the Pistons
5,
once.
The Spurs won 2.
They lost to the Celtics.
The Spurs won 3.
Oh, and Pistons. Sorry, they won 4. Yeah.
Wow.
Oof. So.
And you got Spurs, Mavs, Nets, Pacers. Wow.
Well, boys, anything else you want to talk about?
There you go.
More trivia. I like this trivia.
I do like trivia. That was fun.
I love trivia.
No.
Maybe do the next decade next week.
All right. We can do that.
Oh, Ewing was mentioned. Sorry, Big Daddy. No Patrick Ewing mentioning. And wait,
this isn't the 90s.
That's a decade. That's a decade prior.
Yeah. Get out of the 90s.
We can try and do a 90s
man.
decade.
Oh, that'd be good. I like it. Hey, look, another short one, man. Yep, I only made you guys go a few minutes longer than last time, so.
All right. I guess it's not your fault.
Sorry.
Yeah, I know. I saw the mudslinging.
40 is what I like, though. It's not short. That's what it should be. Anything longer.
It's tight. Yeah.
Keep it tight.
Keep it tight. All right. Well, that is it for us tonight. Join us next week to talk more NBA basketball. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitch at the Box Out Boys. Slide in those DMs. Join us live Wednesdays around 8:30. Send us an email to theboxoutboys@gmail.com. And as always, like and subscribe wherever you listen to us at now. We very much appreciate that. So for Chris, Joey, and Adam, I'm Titus. Until next time, Box Out!